Brains also have a big system of membranes that is going to be used to protect them, making sure that everything is working correctly, working the way that we want it all to work. Now, to help us with that, what we're going to have here is we've got several structures that are helping hold the brain in place and then enveloping it, making sure it's got all the nutrients and stuff it needs. So if we're starting here with the scalp, so the skin, here we have the layer of periosteum, and then finally we get to the bones of the skull. Now, just deep to that, we're going to have a layer of connective tissue here. This is our first layer of our meninges. This is the periosteal. So periosteal, osteo, so periosteal near the bone layer of our dura mater. And then we have another layer of our dura mater here, which is our meningeal layer. So here we have our dura mater here. You'll notice that it's going down in between the two hemispheres of the brain. So this big extension of dura mater in between the surfaces or the hemispheres of the brain, we're going to call this the falx cerebri. It's going to be this almost knife-shaped structure that we'll be able to look at here in just a moment. Now, just deep to the dura mater, we have this little tiny thin pink layer here. This pink layer and all of the little feathers in between, this is going to be our arachnoid mater. Now notice that there is a space between the dura mater and the arachnoid mater. That little bit of space there, this would be called your subdural space. Now, over here, when it says potential space, that's because typically these two things are touching one another. Only in the case of trauma, so something hitting it and kind of pushing that arachnoid mater down, and also fluid is going to rush to fill that area and fill that space. That would be why it's a potential space, is that you can put stuff in between them if you try hard enough. Like in the case of a head trauma, we can put something in between these two layers. However, most of the time it is not a distinct layer. And we're just going to see this little spider web, thus arachnoid, all these little spider web-like fibers filling this space. This is also where we're going to have all of our blood vessels. And then just deep to that, touching the surface of the brain and the spinal cord, we're going to have the innermost layer, which is the pia mater. So the pia mater is going to touch the surface of the brain or spinal cord. The arachnoid mater is going to be found superficial to that. And then superficial to that, we're going to have the dura mater. Now, we have this big extension of dura mater in between the two hemispheres of the brain. So like I said, we call this our falx cerebri. Falx cerebri, so in between the layers of the cerebrum, okay? Or in between the hemispheres of the cerebrum. We also have a falx cerebelli. That's the structure right here. So it's basically going to be a structure that's going to extend and cover the surfaces of our, or down here, covering the surfaces of our cerebellum. This one that's covering our cerebellum is the tentorium cerebelli. So we can see it here. So above the cerebellum, so it's like forming a little tent over it. That is the tentorium cerebelli. And then here we have the falx cerebri up here. And then the falx cerebelli is down here kind of behind and under our cerebellum.